floppy gear lever on your Harley Davidson M8 Softail. Catch you inside.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well in these testing times. So if you watched my last video where I was riding along, then all of a sudden I was just missing gears. I tried to change gears from first, second to third to fourth, and the gear lever wouldn't move, or it just wasn't changing gear. And then when I tried to change back down from fourth, third, second and first, again exactly the same thing. And what I found was that the gear lever itself wasn't returning back to its central position. Now there is a reason for this, and if you look online, then lots of people might give you the worst case scenario, which is basically there is a right in there's a gear selector, or the shift lever pawl, which is kind of a hook thing, right on beneath the transmission cover, and there's a couple of springs in there. Basically they can break, or they can get loose, or wear out, let's say. So they're a very inexpensive parts, just a couple of pounds, dollars, shekels, whatever. However, to get it out, you kind of have to take the whole primary outer case, inner case, the clutch off, I assume, and then you have to take out the whole mechanism out just to replace that spring. It's a right faff, to be quite honest with you. And if you haven't got the proper tools to take off your clutch housing and so on and so forth, you know, you're going to have to take it to a dealership. So it could be a really expensive job if you have to replace those springs. However, before you go down that route, what you need to do is just get some oil or WD-40, something like that, or any other kind of lubricant on the market. You know the score, right? And you just lube up, or just spray WD-40 or whatever on your gear shift linkage, okay? All down here. That's all you need to do. Just on the bearings there, and just give it a good old wiggle. And basically what you're looking for, anytime you operate the gear lever, you push it in forward or pull it back to go up gears or down gears, and you're looking for you push it forward and it will return to a central position. And it could be that your gear shift linkage is binding. However, on mine it wasn't that. So I thought, crikey, is it actually the spring that I'm going to have to possibly take to the dealership with their special tools to be able to change this for me? The bike's just out of warranty. Was I going to have a fight on my hands? All that kind of stuff. Then I just looked at the gear lever itself, and I thought, what about if I just disconnect the linkage and see if the gear lever itself is freely moving within the housing down here. Let me just quickly show you. Down here, is it actually moving? Is it actually moving? So this is the gear lever there. Gear lever goes onto there. Is this freely moving? And it wasn't. It was actually very stiff. If you look at it, probably not the greatest picture, it's all kind of corroded in there. Actually, it's supposed to have a chrome lining or cover, but that's just worn away. So this just needs a really good clean, bit of oil in there, bit of grease, whatever you want to put in there, and then just put it back in there and see if it works. Right. So if you've got this issue with your gear lever is just getting floppy, or it's binding, or it's not returning to its central position for the subsequent gear changes, before start going down the whole spring route, the centering spring route, and also just check your linkage, but also check the actual gear lever point as well, and see if it's corroded in there and if it needs a good old clean. Right, let me do that. Okay, so all I've done is gone into the workshop now and just given this a good old clean. A bit of sandpaper there, a bit of a wire wheel on the end of a drill, and just clean that all up. There is a little rubber seal in there, so just make sure that is still intact as well. You might need a new one. At worst case scenario, you're going to get a new one of these because it might be too corroded in there, but that's something to bear in mind. But you can just clean it up. That's what I've done. Now I'm just going to put a bit of grease over it, slot it back in, see if it works. Right. Now that I've discovered this problem, I think it's going to be a regular service item just to make sure that this is, you know, fully lubed up and not binding. Okay, so all I've done is basically put it all back together. As you can see, lots of grease in there, tightened everything back up. What I'm not going to torque it right down right now. What I'm going to just do is make sure that this gear lever is in the correct foot position. I've got a feeling I just might have to rotate it a notch or two round, but I'll just do that in a minute off camera, and then I'll just torque it all down and away you go. But you can see now that the gear lever is returning to a central position every time you move it, and I'll just show you again. You push it forward and it returns, push it back and it returns. So the whole problem was just the binding right here at the gear lever as it goes through the housing. So it's kind of corroded in there, it's all gunked up, the chrome is all basically corroded away or peeled off as well. So you basically just need to get in there with a wire, bit of wire wool, a bit of sandpaper, clean it all off, put lots of grease in there, do everything back up and see if it works. You've just saved yourself a whole load of money for a very simple task. I was fearing the worst, that they'd have to go into the dealership or somebody with the right tools just to change that silly spring, but actually all you need to do is that. So if this ever happens to you where you're trying to change gear, nothing's happening and you've got a bit of a floppy gear lever, it's because of some binding here, probably. So that's the first thing you should do, and I would say it's not even going to be in the linkage. I would say your first port of call now is that point there where the gear lever attaches to the pinion bolt going through. That's all corroded. Give it a good old clean, give it a good old grease, and make this a regular service item. I'm certainly going to do that now as well. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like and share. Check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. Check out the members area, Rev2000, for all the Harley tech videos and simple fixes just like this. And I'll catch you again. Ta-da.